Abe was actually like an extremely good wrestler, and he was in the middle of town wrestling some younger hoodlums, and one of them pissed him off. So Abe got a hold of him, grabs the guy, lifts him up over his head, and shouts in the middle of town, "I'm the big buck of the lick," and throws the guy at the side of a building.
What? What are you talking about? Is this?
That's a story.
this-
That's a story when Abe Lincoln was like 22, I think.
How do you know this? This week on History Lessons with Cliff. How do you know this, dude? Yeah, from when he was like 20 years old, back when Abe was alive.
He's like, yeah, there's like phone recordings, you guys.
Didn't you see him? Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are on episode 11 of Big Deck Energy. Joining with me today is Tyler Barrett and Ben Clifford. We're going to be diving into some of the bigger cards that we think will hit the meta coming out of Bright Lights and what we think will be going on with some of those decks in the meta for PQ season. Dive in a little bit about the new set that we just got released, the Heavy Hitters, talk about what we think will be going on there, and then we will also cover the Calling Taipei.
Yeah, there's some interesting stuff that happened in that one.
It's going to be interesting to talk about.
Yeah.
Rangers unite.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
But
it was good. I just played in our armory. We had to close shop on Saturday. But we were able to relocate the armory and do one of the like on-demand ones that you can do.
Yep.
So we played at the local bar restaurant in town, which was like,
Hey.
yeah, it was awesome. We got to kind of reserve the upstairs and stuff. They let us play upstairs. There was a bunch of tables. We had like, a bunch of room up there, and
Yeah, they got quite a bit of room up there, to be honest.
we had 11 of us for the armory. So
And you still probably had about 3-4 tables open, didn't you? Still being able to do that.
There's like the big round one in the back, but it was just cool to see like, nothing's gonna stop us. We're just like,
we're a force to be reckoned with.
we're still gonna play, and like it was just, it was cool to have everyone there.
So how'd you do yesterday at the armory?
I made it to the finals against Carter. He was on his OTK Viscerai list. I was playing Azalea. It got to the point where if my deck cooperated with me, I probably should have won that game.
Yep.
There was a few turns at the end of the game where and it's kind of the thing with Rangers. I mean, you hear it all the time. The typical, like, if you draw all your arrows or draw all your pumps in the wrong way, you kind of can lose a game. And it really showed. Like, there was, I think, 3 turns where a lot of times he would not be playing attacks. Like, he just sat there and made rune. Well, I mean, the whole time he didn't attack me one time until the end.
With like read the ruins and obviously your
all that
blood
stuff.
incantations and all that. Okay.
And then end of the game, there was 3 turns where I shot him with 1 arrow with no pumps, no go again,
Nothing on it.
and I was not able to like filter those arrows to the following turn, so they just kind of sat and just
Kept filling your hand with more arrows
they
over
just
time.
made it so like every single hand was just another arrow, and there was like, I think, like I said, 3 turns where I just shot 1 single arrow. One of them was even being like blue spire sniping for 3, which is
just a vanilla 3.
like, I attack you for 3. He's like, I know what's going on, thinking like I think I was gonna snaps it and then codex or something, but
So you went second though?
I did. He
Azalea?
beat me. He played like 45 rune chance.
That's not bad though, Azalea.
Yeah,
creeping out.
Well, so that's I've since going back to the deck and coming off Lexi, I've been having a lot of fun. I do think the deck like is a little more inconsistent than Lexi though.
True.
There are like ways to try to like build around that with some of your pumps. I think there's like some yellow cards that I'm looking at to try to fix some of those all red hands where you're having to.
Like which one? Obviously, you have to run like Deadeyes, right? You run Deadeyes and everything.
The main yellow card that I was so that was actually one like a long time ago that one of our locals was talking about, the Read the Glide Path yellow. But Art of War has been one of the cards I want to test most, and I have tested most. It doesn't come up much where I'm like able to see the effect. There's a few times where I'm able to play Art of War. I have it in there because of Warmongers running around the format, and I think that it's a good answer to it. The problem is it has to line up, and I hate cards that you bring in that has to line up with like, their cards. So I'm just at this point I'm kind of seeing if there is utility in other places where if I can just play it. I'm thinking about actually just cutting Rain Razors for it. I have not really made the concrete decision yet.
See, I feel like Rain Razors isn't as viable in Azalea, but it is a good thing to have in the deck just to threaten.
It's good with Bolt and Shot. The thing is, with Art of War can also do the same thing with Bolt and Shot. Just costs 1.
See, with Art of War, would you be giving it the +1? I mean, obviously, if you had the Bolt and Shot.
And that's the thing. I think Art of War can be very contextual in Azalea. Sometimes you can give the arrow you have go again.
To shoot another
arrow.
Yep.
And then there was a turn where I gave my face down arrow go again. I loaded another arrow, pumped that one up, gave that one go again, and then codexed at the end. I gave it go again with my Snapdragon. So I was actually able to shoot 3 arrows off of the Art of War.
That's pretty good for Azalea too. Being able to shoot 3 times.
The problem is it doesn't block.
Yeah.
And there's cards like Scout the Periphery Yellow I was looking at. I saw Brody Spurlock running the red ones, and
dude, Scout is actually, I love that card.
It's like another read the glide path.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Being able to just like optimize your next hand almost is just anything with that ability. I think is huge. Being able to look at your hand, do whatever you can.
It's cool also to see one of our locals, Kellen, put me onto the card Memorial Ground, and he was actually running the yellow ones. And this was like a long time ago when he was on Azalea. And I had just never like thought of that card and how like strong it actually is in Azalea with
being
the
recursion. Yes.
And it's just cool to see like one of our locals find a card like that and then have it in. If you looked at Brody's list from when he placed first in that Battle Hardened, he had all 3 yellows in there. So it's nice to see one of our locals nail something like that.
It's just nice to be able to bring your. Red in the ledger? You bring red in the ledger
almost always. That's
every
the
time.
thing.
Yeah.
That's if you're trying to play, or if you're playing against a deck that red in the ledger strong against, those Memorial Grounds really can keep that like engine going where you're just doing it consistently turn after turn.
Yep.
But yeah, like not to go on an Azalea deep dive, but I went 2-1.
Okay.
It was a lot of fun, man. Playing at the restaurant and the bar was sweet. Getting a few Bloody Mary
and everything.
Bloody Mary and Flesh and Blood was like can't ask for anything better than that.
No, you can't complain at all. Cliff, how was your week? Did you do anything in Flesh and Blood?
My week was honestly kind of exciting because I finally got the case this weekend to Bright Lights. Got absolutely cucked on my pulls, but I was able to get a max together. And I've discovered a couple interesting things. My original plan for my max list was just to run the Hanabi Blaster. Due to the consistency now of being able to boost 3 times in a turn, I thought that would be the move. It's not.
No.
The move is 1,000% Banksy.
Oh, yeah. Crank and bank, baby. That's the way to go.
And you guys
have you never heard that?
So
you haven't heard that term
when
yet?
I was playing
Crank
with,
and bank. It's the best one.
Oh, shit, dude. No, I have not heard that.
Crank and bank is good. So, Cliff, with the play patterns, how many different items are you playing in your max?
Running about 10, I think.
Okay, what are those 10?
I'm running, I think I cut it to 2 of the backup protocol reds, 3 of the penetration shots.
That card seems good.
2 of the red hyperdrivers.
No other colors?
Not at this time.
So you're not going with a construct plan? Have you tried doing the Nitro Mechanoid?
It's one of the lists I'm going to try to. I'm just trying to fine-tune this boost list to see how that goes and then try the construct so I have a good comparison. But when I was playing against Wesley, something that was extremely dirty was getting your penetration shot out there, playing your turn, and then if your Banksy hits, you just put a steam counter back on penetration shot and it sticks around for another turn. I managed to keep one out for about 4 turns against him. Penetration shot gives your mech attack action cards +1 power.
Yeah, being able to hit that break point, because that item does have crank, right?
So it's just an anthem effect, huh?
Yeah.
So all your boost attacks?
It's good. That's a good one, I will say.
When Banksy hits, you just throw that steam counter back on penetration, and you get it for the next turn.
Yep.
Wouldn't he just kind of like block Banksy out, right? With
Yeah.
one card. It'd be kind of easy to get
See,
around
my
that.
thought process was, I wish the Cliff and I were talking about this when he was breaking down his deck list. I wish the Hyper X3 wasn't you banished a hyperdriver from boosting. I wish it just went in. Because now, I don't know if you know this, Ty, tokens are not like non-cards. They are a card now. So they do go into your discard. Like
Really?
your token, your hyperdriver tokens.
Are you sure?
Yep. They said it in a article. They are now counted as a card.
And that changes things for when the hyperdriver you make from his ability goes away.
It's for all the newer cards that came out. What's the one for Illusionist that's like Ghostly Touch, but is an aura, where if something pops, you get to put a counter on this aura and then attack. Yeah. So your auras that are non-tokens do count now. So like your Spectral Shields count as a card now.
What?
Yep.
And you put them in your graveyard?
Yep.
So then,
They are
so you
technically
need
counted as a
you
card.
need like 100 spectral shields on you at all times because you can't
Yeah.
reuse them.
Yeah. I'm assuming.
Just use a dice, but
Yeah, I know. Which
if
sucks.
you actually need the physical card though,
because
like,
you could, because you could set the card. Because my thought process with the Hyper X3 is like if you scrap your hyperdriver tokens and then be able to from banish put them under, like if you banish them just in any way, shape, or form, then you can put it under Hyper X3, which I think would make the head a lot more versatile. But the fact that it has to only be boosted hyperdrivers.
Yeah, I
You
think the
probably have
Hyper
to run all
XM
9.
is a
You do.
trap.
right? If you run that headpiece, you probably have to run like all 9 hyperdrivers.
I think that headpiece only works in the Nitro Mechanoid game plan. When you're running all those 9 hyperdrivers, all the different colors, the full rainbow.
Because the thing that would suck about that is, yeah, you can, if you get the 3 boost costs for the hyperdriver, you're good to go. But you could also be stopping yourself from being able to get that mechanoid construct out.
True.
Oh, by boosting them and stuff, you mean?
True.
Well, not by boosting them, but you're preventing your hyperdrivers from getting into your discard if you have that headpiece equipped. Because a card that I think is a saving grace for the Nitro Mechanoid build is the Blessing of Ingenuity, if you know what that one is.
Is that the one that came
Blessing
out
of
of Dynasty?
Ingenuity. Yeah, it's the Mech Aura. Play it at the end of a turn, costs 1. The red reads at the beginning of your turn, destroy this aura and add 3 hyperdrivers from the banished or discard into the arena.
You put them all into the arena?
Yeah, that card, the red one, fishes 3, yellow 2, blue 1, but they dig in both the discard and the banished.
Oh, wow.
Holy cow, I didn't know that. Holy
Yes.
shit.
That seems
So,
very strong.
It does.
I ran that as
Because
a
how many do you
one-of
need for the
dash.
construct, then? How many
It's only
hyperdrivers?
3, I think.
Is it 3?
3.
There you go.
Might be 4.
I thought it
was 3. I know
thought it was
Kellen.
3.
Kellen, one of our locals, was running. Kellen Smith was running the construct.
Yep.
Yesterday.
How did he do?
You know, we all kind of had to get out of there quickly after the 3 rounds. We didn't really get to stay and chat and play extra games like we usually do at our store. But I think he did win a game or 2.
Okay.
And yeah, he's playing straight up all hyperdriver.
All hyperdriver and
yeah,
everything.
like total construct plan.
Because you can swing that multiple times in a turn, right?
If you
get
have
action points,
like off a high octane and
yeah,
stuff.
and just boom, 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 boom. Yeah.
I don't know why you would want to build that suit though when there's another suit in the format.
A way better,
It seems
cooler
like
looking
it,
suit too.
I mean, I'm sure he just doesn't have those pieces.
It all just depends on playstyle, I feel like too. But Cliff, did you get any games in with Max? So you said that you had a few games against into Phi of Wes's.
Yeah.
How was that matchup?
Yeah.
2 aggro heroes
So
going at it.
it's seeming to be in Phi's favor. Granted, there is some trimming of the fat I've still got to do in Max, but
Yep.
I mean, you're gonna have those mech hands, where you just have your two items, and it's just like, well, shit.
Yeah.
Right, you can't block 5
Un-
like you want to.
Unfortunately, it's really nice if you're able to kind of get that overstep, because even if you get your items, you're like, oh well, I'll just fucking crank and then we're good to go. Doesn't really matter. But you can't block.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the one
So
harsh thing. Like, I feel like you have the right amount of items. I feel like 10 is like a limit that you might be like right at. I don't think you would ever want to go more than 10. Like, I feel like if you're going with that construct plan, you run the 9 hyperdrivers, and those are the only like items you're using.
Yeah, you could be right.
I feel like that's like you cannot run more than 10 cards that do not block in your deck. That's why Brute suffers in CC, because half their cards don't block.
Yeah, like even their attacks. A lot of their attacks just don't block, and like
Which is
Terror
rough.
Limb from Limb is a non-attack that doesn't block, and
Yep.
it's
There's,
weird.
There's a few, so it is a feel bad, but
Yeah.
I feel like you just have to really watch your limit on what you're doing.
Cliff,
So-
did you say you played in an armory? I'm sorry, I missed that, or was that just like play testing?
That was just playtesting.
You didn't get to an armory this week.
No, I did not.
Okay. Well, man, I hope you come down
Working
for
afternoons
ProQuest.
this weekend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully you can make
I'm-
it down for ProQuest.
I really want to. Trust me.
Josh, you missed yesterday, right? You had
I did
you
miss
did a
yesterday.
tournament of sorts as well, though.
So the shop that we do is a sports shop as well, and Jared, one of the owners, is part of the team baseball, like the Watertown baseball team. So he runs a fundraiser tournament every year for golf, and my team and I were going into it this year with expectations of winning it 4 years in a row. We had 2 other teams that came at us this year.
Four-time defending
Four-time
champs,
defending
dude?
champs.
Oh.
So we were coming into this tournament hoping that we were going to play good. Let me tell you, we left the putters at home. It was so bad.
I don't even golf, and I understand that
Dude, we
reference.
could not make any putts. We shot 12 under. The winning team shot 14 under. Dude, honestly, we were on track to shoot like 18 under. It was so good of play, but our putting was just atrocious. Absolutely atrocious.
Were the greens all wet and stuff? Like
They actually weren't that bad.
because it was just piss and rain for like 2 days.
Here in Minnesota, yeah, we had piss and rain for 2 days, so it was soaking wet. A lot of standing water. We did have like the standing water rule. If your ball was in water, you got to move it. Blah blah blah. Winter rules. But it was a scramble, and my team shot 12 under, lost by 2. Had quite a few good shots. We made 2 eagles, and we stuck them for both of them. I think we stuck them like within 5 feet. We had another one at 10 feet on the first hole even. So we were on fire, but man, putting sucks.
yeah. I can't even get the ball off the ground, so.
It's rough, but I enjoy it a lot. I played in quite a few golf tournaments over the summer, and I think we took down 3 of them.
Nice.
One of them being with Wes, so let's go. It was
awesome.
good, but super fun. Logan Peterson, if you ever hear this, let's play some golf, buddy. Let's go play around. Tarek Patel, I'm all about it. Let's get some fab
Josh
guys.
is calling them all out.
Come on, let's go out for a foursome. Let's go play some golf.
Could
and
you
have some
imagine
fun.
could you imagine like a flesh and blood golf tournament?
Dude, let's do it. I've said that so
I'd
many
sponsor
times.
you.
There's a lot of people in the flesh and blood world that golf.
Yeah, I know. I've heard a lot of
You'd
people like
sponsor
talk
me?
about it. Oh fuck yeah!
All right, let's
you
go.
serious?
I'm in.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
in.
dude. My chips are on you for sure.
Lock it in. Scratch handicap. Let's go. Lock it in.
Johnny's told me, he's like, man, I went golfing with that fucker, and he didn't tell me he was like a pro. He's all pissed.
I remember that, dude. He came back and he's like, "Fuck you."
Oh, when you like hit your first
When
shot,
I hit my
yeah, he
tee
told me
shot,
about that.
He just looked at me and goes, "Fuck you." Jumps in the cart and just starts dropping. I was like, dude.
That's Johnny, dude. He's so competitive. man.
Love you, Johnny, if you're out there listening. We'll have to go out and play golf again. But if any listeners, you find yourself in Minnesota during golf season, let me know. I'll go golfing, 100%.
You golf a lot during the summer, don't you?
Quite a bit. I
Yeah.
try to.
Yeah.
Once or twice a week. Used to. After my daughter was born, it got a little hard.
Oh yeah, man. All that shit kind of slows down, you know.
Hobbies kind of come to a halt when they're that young.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I didn't have anything in flesh and blood, so why don't we dive right into our
You guys want
topics
to talk
today?
about heavy hitters first?
Yeah, let's dive into a little bit of the heavy hitters. So we got a little news about the new set, Heavy Hitters World Premiere at Queenstown. It reads, "The smell hits you first, blood, sweat, steel. Feral crowds roar loud as the thumping in your chest. You step into the arena, hot sand billowing at your feet. Drinks are poured, wagers are made, weapons are drawn. Golden glory is yours for the taking if you survive the death match.
And the art is like a big like Coliseum, right?
The-
Have you
yes.
seen the art, Cliff?
I have not.
Really? I'm surprised that you haven't like been more in the Discord about this, because it sounds like we're getting like a totally brute set here, or like, you know, brute focus.
I'm trying to ignore the announcements of a brute set because
I know, it seems
I'm on
so
my next set.
Yeah, I know, dude. You are right. It does feel like criminal to be talking about another set when Bright Lights just came out, you know. But yeah,
That and they can't bring back-to-back sets for like the two classes I play the most.
No.
Like, that's just rude.
it's just like it's like your time to shine right now.
So
Do we
Cliff,
think that they're gonna give us an all brute set like they just did with the mech stuff?
so
What I'm
I hate to be
hoping is
brutally
that-
honest with this.
My God.
I don't
Oh
think
my
it's a brute
God.
set.
I'm hoping.
I don't think it's a brute
since
set.
I did hear like about the Coliseum art and stuff. I'm hoping that we get like 3 heroes who are kind of geared into the Coliseum, a little bit like how the lore for Outsiders felt. You know,
Yeah. So
like those people that are from the pits, they're down and dirty.
Mhm.
It'd be sweet if we saw a couple of different heroes that were like gladiator versions of their heroes.
You
Like we know that there is.
bastard.
He
Bandit
stole
and
it,
the
dude.
Brute.
You took the words out of my mouth.
before the podcast, Josh, we started talking about this a little bit, and we were getting into some good stuff. And I was like, dude, stop, save that for the podcast. And that was before I think you had joined the call, Cliff, and you just stole it right from his mouth.
So if you look at the concept
Oh, you
art,
almost had it.
if you look at the concept art, everybody's like, "Oh, it's going to be a brute set just because of the big like bones."
Hey, when
and
you say
things on the
say
thing."
brute set, do you mean there will be a brute in it, or it will be all brute? Because
I would
don't
assume,
like you said, I don't think we're doing the whole all the same class.
I would
again.
assume that maybe a brute. Like if you break down the picture in the concept art, right? You see the skull, like the bones and like the this whatever all this stuff is, right? That points towards a brute, right? Everybody was like, "Oh, it's brute, it's brute, it's brute." You look at the Colosseum though.
some of the word choice though, in the way that the
that they
article
said it.
reads like there's going to be a brute.
Now, if you look at the article and you look at the sides of the article, what do you see?
Oh, that
That's
could be
the
the new
border.
border.
Shields, spiky weapons, and a gladiator-looking dude with wearing a toga, tunic, whatever that is.
Dude, we are getting a gladiator.
If you break it down and
Wow.
you look at
What if
everything
that
about
is the
it,
border of the card?
I
They do that all the time.
Pretty sure that's what it is. I'm pretty sure that's what it would be.
They'll give little snippets and little clues all the time
Oh, yeah.
in these early articles and stuff.
And if you look at the concept art too, you don't see any big green monsters or a big purple woman screaming, running around. All right, you see.
Okay, to be fair, me and actually Kellen talked about this. Why is Reinar called a brute, and then Levia is also called a brute? Like, but then in the story he says that the race that Reinar is called brutes. That's the race. They're not orcs. They're not like That's
that
what,
makes no sense.
I don't know what's going on there with
Hey,
the brute
it was
class.
it was the first set. Give LSS a little
No,
slack.
I know.
right?
I'm just kind of. It's funny that it just reminded me of our discussion yesterday.
But what points me towards a new class and thinking that Gladiator might be the set is just because brutes don't fight in Colosseums. It's not
They
Colosseum
can.
fights.
You think that those gladiators or those fighters aren't brutish?
Yeah, hey, they can be. Don't get me wrong. But
I bet we'll get a brute, but I bet we'll get a
I
gladiator.
think it'll be a human brute, though. I don't think it's going to be like the typical
monster?
monster green.
Oh, that would be actually.
I
really
think
cool.
because if you look at them,
like a big badass,
there's
like
huge, giant humans walking through the doorway, and they're humans. They're not the typical green brute monster.
right,
They're big people.
yeah,
The size comparison is different.
yeah. They look
So,
like giants compared to the
Could
other
we get a
guys.
giant class? Giants are there. It does look Savage Landy. I mean, it looks like we will be going to the Savage Lands potentially. It doesn't
Yeah.
look like a structured area to the point of like civilization, as in like Solana or Aria or any of those. This
Yeah.
does look Savage Landy though.
Like you're out in the desert somewhere, or just like in this kind of similar to the pits, like a kind of just rugged area, you
Yes.
know, with the bones and the whole archway, the way it's built. Also, like the way the logo of Heavy Hitters is with the
With the
it's
rocks.
like horns. No, it's like I think you go up. Yeah, you see how it's almost like horns,
Yeah, it is
spiky
horns.
horns or something. You know what I mean?
Diablo.
It does actually look like some Diablo horns. But what do you guys think, like, if we did get a gladiator type of class, what would they do? What do you guys think?
I think gladiators are. I think they're going to be a mix of almost like a guardian and warrior. I would beg to differ, just because they are very
Like a
based.
chunky character that cares about their weapons?
Yeah, I feel like they're very based around their weapon because they're a gladiator. They know how to fight. I feel like they will have the capability of being able to block with a shield. I feel like this.
Oh, as a gladiator? Hell
They
yeah.
kind of missed it with the warrior with the new shield, the bastion. That was a miss.
Well, with all the best weapons being two-handed,
It's so hard. It's not viable to run. But with a gladiator, you can make that a game plan within that class.
What if as a gladiator you get to like equip a bunch of different weapons, and when you use them they have blade break or something, they break, and then you can equip another one. It's kind of like Evos in this set, but we just get a bunch of weapons that you get to equip throughout the game.
Cool.
Yeah.
That'd be nuts.
A spear, and then
like,
a sword and shield, and then a spike ball, or what are they called? The
flail.
Flail. There
Flail.
you go.
Yep.
Yep.
Dude,
Would be wild, right?
it feels so bad talking about a new set right now just because we got bright
dude,
lights.
it
Sorry,
does.
listeners, but
It does.
this heavy hitter
Maybe
set,
we should just kind of do a small little. We'll kind of not talk too much about it, but
this
kind of go into our.
I am pretty excited if we get a new class.
Yeah.
This seems like a set where they could bring out a new class, and I think
you're spot on with the borders on the sides of the article. If the listeners want to go back and look at the article that is out there about heavy hitters on the borders, as you scroll, the whole page looks like the borders of a Flesh and Blood card. Honestly,
it does, and I think that's where they're giving us some hints. And it's got the spikiness around the side for like clubs that you find inside of an arena, and then it's got a shield. So
it's also got like a little Atlas character holding up the what is that?
Like a cauldron pot, something like that. Looks like a statue almost for like fires, starting a fire for something. But dude, hate to say it, but I'm excited for the set. I'm excited to see what heavy hitters is going to bring. Is it just going to be a bunch of talls, or is it going to? I don't think there's going to be a lot of wide. I think it's going to be a lot of pumping tall attacks coming over the top. But that's just my speculation. How about you, Cliff?
This is the predictions for the next
Coming
set.
down the hallway again. No, just What are your thoughts on heavy hitters? Because you're kind of our brute player and stuff, and we were just talking about like gladiators and stuff.
Brutes are always tricky, both playing into and playing against. Because if a brute deck decides it's time to kick off, there's not much you're going to be able to do to stop it. It's just going to smash you.
What would be one of the most needed things or cards or maybe equipment that you think a brute would need to be viable?
I almost think that instead of like Gambler's Gauntlets, if we got just like a one Battle-Worn Gloves that once per turn when you roll a dice, you add one to that roll.
Oh, that seems good. It seems real strong.
That'd be.
Well, don't you guys also just kind of need some more like blue 6 attacks? Wouldn't that kind of help the deck? Or
Blue 6 attacks, or even just cards that block, man.
Stop giving them cards that don't block. Yeah.
Here's the thing. Like, the only brute attack or brute cards I run that don't block is Tear Asunder, and that's just as a 2 of.
Tear Asunder or Tear Limb from Limb?
That one, Tear Limb from Limb. Tear Asunder would be weird in a brute deck, not gonna lie.
But Tear Limb from Limb is the one that you play that doesn't block. I mean, isn't there a few attacks that don't block too?
Yeah, but if you run those, you're dumb. I'm sorry, that's just what I'm saying.
Okay, I'm not saying. I agree, because my deck is all like block 3s, and my brute deck is like a fatigue brute deck almost. Like I run immovables, my Fate Foreseen, Sink Belows. Like I'm not trying to do that discard stuff too much, just because it just does not seem powerful. Hate to say it.
Like the Intimidate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd rather just have Intimidate on the face of a card, like Barraging Beatdown, or like your Smash Instincts. Right, Cliff? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, those are good. My Rhinar is built around the intimidation, getting the discard triggers. Just because if you're able to discard the right cards, you can really open up your turn just to do disgusting things. We've talked about the card Blood Rush Bellow before.
Yep.
That is one of those enablers. What feels really good is if you're able to time it to Blood Rush Bellow and then discard
Massacre.
the Beast Within. No, Beast Within.
Beast Within, that's right.
Massacre won't trigger off of the Blood Rush Bellow discard effect.
That's right.
Massacre only triggers if it's an attack action.
That's right. So
But that's 3 cards you draw.
So do you think
off of a
this
discard
will
effect.
be a brute set, Cliff, or do you think we're going to see a variety of different heroes? Do you think we might get a new class?
I think I'd love to say that we'll get a gladiator class because that would be dope. I want there to be 3 classes in this next set. Give us another brute for some brute support. Give us a gladiator. But what do you guys think would be a 3rd class? Do you know what it's been a while since we got a new one of?
What's that?
Warrior.
Yeah, thank you.
So if we're going to be doing like a gladiator set,
it makes
I
sense.
think it should be
It would make sense.
kind of a callback to Wraith. Give us the brute, give us the warrior, and then give us the gladiator as the new class.
That'd be pretty freaking sick, dude. Hey, your favorite card's going to be playable, Ty.
What's that?
What's the set name?
Heavy hitters?
What's one of your favorite cards?
Pummel?
Yeah, buddy.
Oh, yeah. It does seem kind of like a Pummel type of theme, doesn't it?
Let's go. Reprint Pummel. Let's go. Reprint it.
It's like everything has spikes on it, you know?
I know.
Look at the club and Pummel.
I know.
It's just...
Well, to kind of wrap up our heavy hitters talk here, I think we're all pretty excited for the new set, even though we did just get Bright Lights, and Bright Lights is fun, I will say. I do enjoy Bright Lights a lot, but I don't know. I'm interested to see if they do an all single class set for the next one, or if it's going to be different heroes.
I don't think they will. If they do, that's a huge. If they go back to back where it's just one class, I think that's a big miss. I hope they don't do that, and I think they're smart enough not to do that.
But to close out the heavy hitters will be revealed January 19th through 21st at the New Zealand Calling Queenstown. So that'll be right at the beginning of next year.
You say New Zealand, right?
Yep, New Zealand.
One of our locals is actually going to that.
Really? Which one?
Nathan.
Wes wanted to go.
Judge.
Is he judging?
No. Actually, I don't know.
He might go play?
I don't know. He might judge, actually. I didn't ask him, but he said he's going, and he's going to make a trip of it and stuff.
Tell him to judge, rip that cold foil freaking Art of War, and then just be happy with his day.
Hell yeah. No, hey, actually, I wanted to give a small shout out to Nathan. He has been like such a pillar of our community as of late, and like
he has.
Him making the drive to come out to our shop and to play with us is just like so awesome, and like he's so helpful with judge calls, and I mean even just like helping me run the things, and it's just
Nathan, you're a staple
in
in our community, and
dude.
we appreciate it. All your help, everything you do, even bringing new people to come play at our shop sometimes, like
absolutely.
when you can.
Yep.
We appreciate it, and just a big shout out to you, buddy. But why don't we dive into?
You guys want to get to like maybe? I wanted to go over what we each think is our like most impactful card from Bright Lights in this meta.
Yes. Do like a top 3?
No, maybe just, I don't know, kind of go over a couple of them, I guess. There's really no, kind of like, this reminds me, my buddy listened last week for the first time, and he's like, you guys don't really have topics, huh? And I'm like, nah, kind of, it's like loosely, just kind of will sort of say what we're going to talk about, and we just shoot from the hip. I mean, we can do a top 3, I suppose.
Let's do it. Let's kind of do a top 3, which we think will be, top. Because I have a very hot take I think I will say.
Okay. I think, so I can kind of start off. I think if Singularity's not in the list, that'd be a crime. The card is like, it's a demi-hero. It's the second demi-hero we have. So the power of it is obviously like, on the high end of cards we have in the game.
Yep, I think Singularity does have to go 1. I will say that.
Well, so, okay.
My answer is not going to be your guys' answer.
Okay. I think we should just ask what are we asking? Most impactful card, most expensive. I think impactful should.
I think impactful.
So if we're talking impactful, Singularity is probably not 1 for me. It would be somewhere 2 to 3 range. It's definitely up there though. I think it's like one of the best cards to come out of the set. But if I don't think anything has been better than this new tome for Dromai. Have you seen
So
all the Dromais?
you're going off of the expansion slot as
Yes.
well. You're saying expansion slot as well.
All of it. Yeah.
Okay.
The
okay.
whole set.
Okay.
The whole
okay.
set.
Okay. I will say yes. The Dromai tome is for sure the heaviest.
Well, we should
hitter.
say Royal Tome, right? Because
Yeah, it is.
It is
Royal
not
Tome.
an illusionist
Yes.
tome. It is a draconic action.
It is. Used in Wizard. Wizard Warrior as an Emperor.
Yeah.
Beautiful card if you haven't. But I think it's going to be very good for Dromai. Being able to get a Dragon out, one of the big ones on
It's like
turn one.
Yeah, free Ash.
So scary.
It replaces itself. You
get resource, you get your Ash, and then you get to draw two more cards.
It's kind of like everything you want to do in Dromai.
And Dromai is redline. I
you get to
am
filter
excited.
your hand too.
Yeah,
Like sometimes.
yeah, it's good.
What the fuck was that, Cliff?
I opened a fucking app on accident and started playing some shitty ass music.
Oh yeah. That's all I heard.
Shit.
Yeah,
Tome of the Imperial Flame.
Yep.
Does definitely go one.
It made it to the finals in a deck in the calling this last weekend.
And you think about it, dude. Like the Crown of Dominion for Dromai is way better than any other headpiece. I mean, Crown of Providence is, arguable, but with this new tome, if you're not running the Crown of Dominion with the new tome, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. Like, what are you doing? That card's so good.
Yeah, I think you just have to, unless you maybe don't own the card, you just still want to play it.
I mean, they are spendy. They are sitting at like $20, $30 right now.
Yeah, there's like a $30 non-foil, dude.
Yeah,
which is that could kind of be the majestic hit of the set or whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
Also, that actually I wanted to touch on this just briefly. Like, a lot of people, I've heard a lot of people complaining about the pull rates in Majestics and stuff.
Yep.
Because we've kind of went through this journey of pull rates with Majestics. You guys have opened a lot of Welcome Wraith and Arcane, right? So
Yes.
you know how it used to be where each box would have two.
It was rough.
And some of those Majestics were still $2 to $3.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They would have only two, though. And you'd usually get a foil one, usually.
Yep.
So you'd kind of average about 3 Majestics per box. And then we went to Crew, where they got rid of super rares, and then Tails, and I think Monarch. And then it's every box had 7 to 10 Majestics in it, right?
It was cranking up.
I mean, it was a lot.
And then you got to Bright Lights.
Well, but those
not Bright
prices,
Lights.
the prices of those M's were all really, really low, too, because you just got this abundance of them.
And then you got to Dusk Till Dawn.
It was Outsiders, I think.
Was it a...
Outsiders started the whole, you get 5 Majestics per... That's with the Codex and the
Yeah, but I
Premeditate.
feel I feel like in Dusk Till Dawn, I was getting fucking 12 Majestics almost at... Oh,
No,
dude,
I don't know.
yeah.
I don't think it was the same in that one, I thought.
I had a ton of Majestic
maybe
pulls
it
out
was
of it.
maybe because it was a
Supplemental.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. I feel like that could be it. But for a draftable set, you are right. Outsiders did hit different with the 5 to 6.
They kind of fixed the pull rates of M's, and you got your 5 to 6 per box. But that's, I mean, in this set especially, you look at some of these Majestics, Twin Drive is about $20. You've got Heist is $15 non-foil. Yeah, your Tome is $30.
Yep.
There's some really valuable cards just sitting in the non-foil M spot, and that's really good for the game, I think. And having it in that 5 to 6 M's per box seems about right where you want it, and it makes them less available.
Yeah,
they're just less. If there's less of them in a box, or you get less M's, then you're just gonna have
my hot take of the week.
Actual scarcity.
Most of the legendaries that came out of Bright Lights are kind of doo doo. If I'm going to be brutally honest, if I'm going to be brutally honest,
you guys are crazy.
Singularity's good.
Tunic,
dude. Okay,
I'm sorry.
I'm not,
No, I had to.
I will say I'm not
Minus
including
Tunic, you're saying, yeah.
minus Tunic
Okay,
and
all
Teklo
the
Foundry.
legendaries
The
in the
reprints of
expansion
those
slot
Teklo
were
Foundry was needed in this set, but I'm saying the Hyper X3, the adaptive plating, Shriek Razors.
I actually think
pretty
Shriek
good.
is pretty sweet.
Pretty
I
good.
went and kind of looked at that card again and
No,
tried to
I can explain Shriek Racers when we get a chance.
just go ahead right now.
That card is gas.
do it right now, Cliff. Explain that card right
Okay,
now.
so
I was down on
what
that card.
Shriek Racers is doing is it's giving you another recurring battle warn so that you can keep recurring your block. That's already a leg up on Flick Knives in my.
Yeah.
What it also does is it's making every single one of your on hits that much more viable because it's just removing a defense at instant speed, basically.
Yeah.
That reaction speed.
Yep. And how I kind of reevaluated it as it was, it's kind of the card, even if you don't activate it, the threat of it
just
being there
seeing it
and
there.
them knowing, oh, if I block for exactly, then they can just
Crack it.
pitch the 2
You're
and
forcing
always
the overblock.
yes, you're always forcing the overblock no matter what. And so like the threat of Shriek Razors, I think, is like so much more valuable than the Flick Knives. And I like because I remember that card came out and we kind of even I think we touched it a little bit on one of our episodes about how we still think Flick Knives is better than that card. I don't think so.
No.
I think Shriek is just like
Shriek's
and like
way
you said with
better.
the Battle Worn Cliff, that's like definitely relevant.
Being able to buy back.
But then yeah,
and
the threat of having that mess with your block, you can basically force any on hit you have. Like that's pretty wild.
it is
Even
good.
if you don't activate it one time in a game, it still pulls a lot of weight.
I will say Assassin got a huge lift in this set with Already Dead as well. Already Dead
that's
is
a
a
good card.
disgusting card.
That's
It
that's
is
one of
good.
those other cards that is a good high price non-foil.
High price non-foil. Yeah, it's a popper. It plays into any illusionist that you really want, and it helps take out a blocking card. So you're hitting an on-hit, removing a blocking card, and removing a card from their hand, right? Is that what it is? I think along those lines.
Yeah, no. It doesn't make you discard. I thought it just like destroy. Hold on, I can pull it up really quick. It says you are contracted to banish opponent's non-action cards. Whenever you complete this contract, create a silver. When this hits a hero, banish the top card of their deck and a defending card.
Okay, and
so
it is just a defending
it's a card on the that they blocked with, or
Yep. That's right. Route. Done. Duh.
I'm pretty sure one of our judges had made the ruling, and I think they're right. I hope they're right, because if not, then what I'm saying is wrong. But you can choose to, because if it's on the same chain link and you play Already Dead, if they blocked with an equipment before that chain link, you can choose a defending card that is on the chain link. I think so. If you have like Already Dead, it like presents this really weird like, do I ever block with my armor? Like, almost ever, because they can just Already Dead the next attack and then destroy your piece of armor that you might have blocked.
That's a feel bad, dude.
Yeah.
That is bad.
Yeah.
What if they do that to like Teklovas and the Necropotent?
I know.
Oh.
That's kind of when someone at our shop was telling us about how like
What do you
it
do?
might have even been you, Josh.
It might have been.
Where you were talking about how you can destroy the actual hero.
Yeah.
That was you.
Yeah. Dude, like that's
He's just Already Dead.
oh.
Teklovasin. I wonder
Get
if that
it?
works. We
Already
should ask
dead?
Nathan. We should ask Nathan. I'm actually not 100% sure on that ruling, but that did come up in our Discord. I remember like when this card was revealed. And
That you could just get rid of something completely.
yeah, like a defending card doesn't necessarily have to be that chain link, I think is kind of the way it was described or something.
It's just
But
it only
if
classifies
it's on
a
the chain
defending
link,
card.
it
yeah.
says defending card. So
yeah. You're right.
could
You're
be
right.
pretty crazy.
You're right. Oof, dude. Oof. That's a feel bad. I don't know.
I know. It's really tricky, man. It really goes into the theme of Assassins and being just little tricky.
No,
kind of
I do feel like it's.
characters.
No, I'm going to save what I'm about to say. Because that might be. Was that one of our listener questions?
What was that?
What Carter asked.
About Already Dead?
About the power creep in Assassin in this set. Just with 2 cards.
No, I don't think so.
Not power creep, but
he
like.
was more
but like
no, his question.
power level.
I don't think so. He was talking about mechs being better, with mechs getting a buff. We'll read it at the end here.
Okay.
We're about to.
But I honestly think just in those 2 cards, it helps Assassin an insane amount. Just in those 2 cards, which is baffling. And it's sad that we're saying all of our top 3 cards are not cards that came out of Bright Lights.
Yeah, I mean Singularity is, but
Singularity, I will say Twin Drive. I'm a big fan of Twin Drive. Just being able to get that boost game plan, being able to boost on 1 card twice to hit your maximum velocity sooner. I will say that's probably one of the best attack actions that came out of this set.
it's pretty cool. That card's pretty sweet.
Definitely
Because
a
that
good one.
can be used in most mech game plans. Unless you're like Teklovasin, you're not really using it too much. I don't know, man. It's hard to break down which cards are going to be better in the meta.
Yeah, I mean this is all kind of like just. I mean we're just shooting in the dark here, and we're this is all kind of theoretical in what we think. So
And it's like
we're definitely like
all the
open to
heroes
being
are
wrong.
built different. So it's like it's hard to point out which card will be better.
We're also talking about a meta right now that's about to severely change in a few months.
That is true.
So
severely change.
All these mech cards could be very relevant.
Yes, very relevant. I think I will say Heist. I do like Heist a lot. Heist is a really good card. The on hit on it
You
is
get to put
just
the item in play, right?
nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, nuts.
Pretty cool.
It's so good.
That's my pick for the strongest card out of Bright Lights.
Nice.
Is Heist.
Heist.
Nice,
You like
Cliff.
Heist a lot too, Cliff? Yeah.
Is it a 1-for-4? What is that card stats?
2 for 5?
It's a 2 for 5.
Okay.
Yep.
2
As
for
boost.
5 with a boost.
Yep.
If it hits, you get to put the item
Get to
out there.
put the item out
0
there.
or 1 cost, right?
Then just crank and bank right after, baby.
Oh, I love that fucking. That is funny.
I will say though, the Warband of Bologna, very good for Bolton. I hate that it's a destroy after you use.
No, but I think you use it on the turn, right? The turn.
Yeah.
You know, so you only, it's not like you're.
For the combo, you're saying? For the combo Bolton?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but what about Banneret Bolton? Like right now, like
Yeah. I mean, you still get a lot of value out of it the one turn you do it.
it's
'cause,
just
like,
harsh that it's a
you can set up-
one-time use.
I know, yeah. I
One
think it
time
would be
use.
really, really busted if it wasn't.
But it's cool to see Bolton getting all these pieces that are allowing him to charge on the defensive side and during different like parts of the game,
Mm-hmm.
not having to do it on your turn. Because charging is kind of a tough thing.
It's a
You're
flawed
losing
mechanic,
card. Yeah,
for sure.
you're losing
Yeah.
a card.
Yeah.
To
I wish they would have designed it a little better, but that's, you know, we're not game designers. So,
that's why I don't play Bolton.
I mean,
Bolton's a
it's rough.
warrior. Yeah.
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 Have you ever like, actually given him like a real shot, or is it just kind of always felt?
kind of always felt lower powered.
Yeah.
I just feel like Dory's a way stronger.
Oh, yeah, I
way
agree.
stronger warrior.
I agree.
And even in like Blitz, dude, he is pretty strong in Blitz. I will say he can race Kasai very well if you have him built right. Dory as well. I don't know. He's kind of a mid. What else? What's your guys' thoughts on the third card? I guess Ty, you didn't say your second favorite card. Oh no, you said Singularity was.
Yeah.
You said
no, I think we
one
kind of
was
covered our, you know,
most of them.
We can just go on to the calling that happened.
I do want to ask one question. What is your guys' favorite item that came out of the set?
Ooh.
Backup Protocol Red.
That is a good one, dude. Backup Protocol Red's good. I will say, being able to bring
You
back
just-
your cards.
Free boost. Use the resource off a hyperdrive or a tech load, or go grab another boost card. Or go grab your maximum like I did to Wes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna probably go with Boom Grenade. That card's been kind of cool.
Dude, the power in that card and dash,
Oh,
fucking
Joe.
disgusting.
Dude,
Fucking
you were
gross.
not about that card when we
I know.
first started talking about
I
that
know.
card.
I know.
You're like, no, that card's not going to be
Rick-
that strong.
Rick played a
Bro,
Boom
that,
Grenade.
That card is gas.
Rick played a Boom Grenade against me yesterday, and it was actually
With
in
dash?
turn. Yeah.
Dude, when you find it off the top of your deck and you hit just for 1 damage, and then you can just instant it off the top of your deck to pop it down during the reaction phase.
Sure.
Dude, it's almost like a reaction.
Sure. 0 for 4 reaction.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty disgusting.
Yeah.
Pretty fucking disgusting.
I mean, I'm not like really playing a true mech deck. I'm playing like the Teklo, or I've been building this Teklo deck, so I'm not like using a lot of items in
Yep.
him.
Yep. Yeah, I mean,
but-
you wouldn't want to use a lot of items in Teklo, I feel
Yeah.
like. I feel like it's all like equipment. You know, your Evos, you got your I see it's hard to rate like the Terminator tank and the Annihilator engine because those are really only played in Teklo.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, unless you're going for an Evo build inside.
Oh, I'm
of
sure
one of-
you can definitely build Evo decks with the other ones, but
I just feel like it's not a viable game
Mm-hmm.
plan. That's not what they want to be doing.
no, he's for sure the Evo deck. But yeah, I think we kind of covered that pretty well. Let's
Yes.
move on to the Calling Taipei. My girl won again. So, well, I say again because a lot of times when I pick a deck that I think is sneaky good, it'll win a tournament, and then everyone is on the deck,
And then you're like, oh,
and I'm like, oh man. I promise I picked it
knows.
before it won. I don't know if you guys remember the whole Icelander
that's what you
dilemma.
can say. Oh yeah.
I was playing
Oh,
that
yeah.
card, that deck in Blitz for months and months
Oh
and
yeah,
months.
and she was strong in Blitz, dude. So strong, so
People
strong.
just didn't know until people knew.
But calling Taipei,
Yep.
Azalea,
Azalea,
and who won it?
Justin Koo. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, but he beat Nick Butcher in the finals
Heyo.
on Dromai. So took down one of its worst matchups in the game, I would say. That deck or that matchup is definitely like winnable. Your red and ledgers are big time relevant in that deck. You have cards like Ravenous Rabble.
To help you go a little wide.
Well, yeah, you can kind of like clean up a dragon and then still present like some on hits.
I feel like that's a sideboard tech that you want for that matchup, right? You want to be running your Ravenouses. You want to be maybe even your Falcon Wings.
I think I don't. I think I don't really cut Ravenous very much, anyways. That's kind of a main deck card.
Always stays in.
Well, the reveal on it is really nice for like the consistent. It's like it's the consistency of getting that dominate.
Yep.
Where you can like read the glide path, opt one. Oh, it's a bad card. Put it on the bottom. Then Ravenous, or let's say it was a blue. Then you want to put it on the bottom because then Ravenous would. Then you play your Ravenous, reveal your whatever, your good red arrow.
Yep.
Play your pumps.
Then boom.
Azalea
off the top.
You're about to dominate an arrow. So you can have like it just helps with like the consistency of the deck.
Yep.
But
was the Dromai on the new Dromai?
Yep, Royal Dromai with the tomes and stuff.
Tomes?
Yep.
Okay.
And Nick Butcher's a well-respected, very good player. I think he's out of Australia, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And I know he like plays with Haydendale and stuff, and I've seen their videos on YouTube, and they always have like really good content and very helpful like analytical stuff with the game.
Yes.
Azalea was on 1 life though. I saw at the end of that game and just eked it out. The top 8.
Were they playing the new Chromai Dust too? They had to have, right?
I actually don't know. I didn't see the full game or list. No.
That I feel like they do that Dust actually too. Insanely good for Chromai, especially being able to get your action point.
Chromai's one of the more annoying ones to deal with.
That's gonna be, dude. If they ever come out for one for like Mirror Guy or Kyloria, I'm gonna hate it. I'm gonna hate it so much, dude.
Yeah, Kyloria is always annoying too. Snatch on a stick. Who would have thought that'd be good?
Yeah, I know. Fuck.
Top 8 for that event was 3 Lexi, 1 Azalea, 1 Bravo, 1 Dromai, 1 Katsu, and 1 Reinar. So Reinar squeaked in there, kind of cool. Pretty typical top 8 though. I feel like coming into this ProQuest season, that's going to be kind of a top 8 you're going to see. You're going to see some Bravos squeaking. You're going to see some Dromais. Katsu's still a good deck right now. And there are a lot of people that love Katsu. And with Brody placing first in that Battle Hardened, and with this, Justin winning on Azalea this calling, I have a feeling you're going to see some Azaleas come back.
Yes.
I kind of settled on her like about, I want to say, a few weeks back. Well, I mean, it was pretty much after Vegas. I knew I was going to put Lexi down and go back to my roots. But working on like a sideboard plan and stuff has been a lot different. It's been a lot different than Lexi. It's fun though. I love to try to figure out stuff. It's cool to like be right about cards like Memorial Ground when like Kellen and I have been playing that card forever, and then you see it in Brody's list, and it's like, well, hey, maybe we're not doing something, or we're not doing everything wrong.
It just shows that your card evaluating is on point. That it's
historically it's been really bad.
Boom grenade.
No, I'll remind you guys that I thought Crown of Seas was the worst equipment in Tales.
Amazing. So, that card was amazing.
It's the best equipment in Tales. So.
Card's amazing.
Anyways. Yeah, so we can kind of just like, we weren't going to talk too much about the calling. I just want to go over the results there, and maybe we can kind of end this topic on what are you guys going to play if you guys do decide to play the CC next weekend, the ProQuest. What hero are you guys going to land on?
Cliff, you want to hit this one first?
Well, we know Cliff ain't coming down, but Cliff, if you're coming down, what are you going to play?
If I'm able to make the ProQuest, I'd like to be able to get this Max list fleshed out. I've been on Max for a while now, so it'd be nice to
be sweet, dude.
Place well at one of the ProQuests with these mech lists, and I think Max has some real potential to be a really strong deck.
Yeah,
it's just going to be trimming the fat for a little bit.
Sure. I feel like he's going to be like a force to be reckoned with on the aggro side once Lexi's gone. Like him and Phi have a really good rough matchup and even matchup into each other. And I think Phi is the next one on the list for the most aggro once Lexi's gone. So I think he is actually going to...
I think it is.
I think he's going to be pretty viable, especially if you find the right items and you're cranking and banking. Like... You're getting your game plan going, and I feel like he can be very strong once he gets a synergy with his items going and all his hyperdrivers. I like that pick, Cliff. I like that pick.
What about you, Josh? What are you playing?
Dude, I'm so torn.
Still,
dude, I'm still so torn.
You should pick tonight.
I know,
or fucking just flip a coin. Sometimes I've done that,
dude,
and just go with fate.
It's like I still haven't had frickin' time to build my Decimating Great Axe story, so not playing
Don't
that.
play
That's
that,
out the
then.
window.
Yeah, don't do that.
I'm not gonna try to force that and like try to learn a deck in a week. That's not not smart. Not a good game plan. It's torn between whether I want to go race Lexies with Fi, or if I just want to go smash some people big time with Bravo. Is what it kind of is boiling down to.
I think both are good choices. I would think Bravo's probably a little positioned better in the meta right now, but Fi like can just win a lot of different. Like they can kind of
race and just pump damage out. I want to play Dory, but I have not had the matchup into Teklo-Vasen, and if I run into Teklo-Vasen, dude, it's oh my god.
I bet you there will be some players on that deck.
It's gonna be so hard. Yeah. I don't even know what to. I've been thinking about that all week. Like, what the fuck do I do in this game plan? How do I beat it? Do I just have to sit there and go tall and not gain counters and just try to push damage going tall every time, or what?
Yeah, I will say with my few games into Teklo-Vasen with Azalea, it's been very tough.
Like, just
they're
you
able
have
to
go
just block.
insanely.
Like, well, even my dominates, they're able to block out a lot of times because they have all this
evils
armor
are
and stuff.
action.
No, but I mean, if they have a ton of armor on, and then they like sink below from arsenal, block a 3 from hand, and then block with another 3 from their battle worn crap. It's like, this is not one of my better matchups. But I don't think we'll see very much Teklo in CC right now because of the bad Icelander matchup. I mean, it seems almost unwinnable with the arcane barrier problem.
Yep.
There is one thing that Carter had kind of put out there. Rusted Relic might be a good answer for now.
Yes.
I mean, you just kind of play the slow game. You still play your Singularity plan. You build your armor at the beginning. Ignore Icelander for the most part, and until you find your 1, then your 2, your second Rusted Relic maybe. And
you shoot for your Rustic.
I haven't tried it yet, but it does seem like it might be an out in that matchup.
We might see that card just skyrocket in price now.
No, Icelander's about to be gone. So,
well, you still got Kano.
That is true.
And you still have Viserai and Vincent.
That is true. Just any arcane barrier does kind of screw you over.
So I feel like that might be a sideboard tech that you have to run in the deck.
You could be right.
Like that's a staple that you good
fact
call
that
out.
It's a
Carter.
blue.
Good
fact that it's a blue is like really good too.
Yes, that too.
Yeah. My pick
sucks that it doesn't block.
I know. Yeah.
That's one thing.
No, they can't make items block though, right?
No, you can't.
My pick will be Azalea. I know I've said that I think a couple times now on the pod. I'm gonna try to come up with a good sideboard plan. Feel comfortable in the Lexi.
I like it.
Bravo matchup sucks. Stromai matchup is tough.
You got a lot of experience on that deck too.
Yes.
Like a lot of experience. So
yes,
I feel like that's a good pick for you. Big time.
I also haven't really brought it to like a real event for a long time. Long time.
Yeah, the last time you were just didn't you get crushed and you're like, fuck this?
Well, no, I like just it was. I mean,
it was Lexi. That's what it was.
Once Lexi came out, being an Azalea player, I just kind of gravitated towards playing Lexi. So anytime I played Ranger at the shop, it was kind of always Lexi. But just the year or two that I spent on Azalea is like enough. And I mean, she's got some new pieces, but it's pretty much the same deck. And I have been testing pretty much for the last month now on Azalea. So cards like, Art of War and stuff. I'm still not sold that that's like the right answer to Warmongers. I think you just fight through the Warmongers, but
yeah,
because you kind of have to have them line up. And then there are turns that Art of War just does nothing. But again, Rain Razors also on turns just does nothing. So I'm wondering if the ceiling on Art of War is better than the Rain. The one cost can be rough, but you gotta go.
Well, to wrap up our PQ, we're excited, Cliff. Hopefully you can make it down and represent the BDE cast out there. For all you guys to talk to us at some of those PQs. Love to talk to some of the listeners and
it's gonna be good
get to know some
of
of
the
you.
community. Since the last RTN, we didn't have our podcast up and running. So
nope. We were getting it up and going, trying to get it started.
I mean, I think it's been in talks for months. We kind of have been like, whatever.
It was. All right, let's dive into our listener questions here, though.
Yeah, we have one from Carter.
Perfect.
He says, with the release of 3 new Mechanologist heroes, do you think that this set has been almost a shadow buff to Assassin? Specifically Arachne he's talking about. With the addition of new temper equipment in the form of Evos and equipment that blocks more than 3 in the form of Singularity, has this opened the door for Arachne's hero ability and Red Shred to be a force to be reckoned with on a competitive scale?
Yes, but only if they're able to consistently get into those matchups. Otherwise, Arachne is still going to suffer as he's always suffered.
Yeah, I think the short answer is no. The long answer is yes. Like right now, Arachne is, I think, just still kind of the worst hero in the game. I think I'd honestly play Riptide over Arachne.
How can you say that when Dorinthia exists?
Oh,
Dude, you're gonna make him drive up there right now.
that was a Dawn Blade to the gut, bro.
Dawn Blade for 3, baby.
What was that?
bro.
Did you pay your 1 resource for that Dawn Blade? Jesus Christ.
Spider bite to the back, just backstabbing you there, dude.
Fucking
I definitely think there is some merit to what he's saying though, with like mechs caring about like boosting and getting rid of their deck, and with Arachne doing the same thing where they're banishing cards. Like, it does feel like if mechs start to become like viable and they're top of the meta, that maybe the antidote to mechs is Arachne, and he does become viable. But I think we're a bit of a ways off, of that happening. Like Icelander and Lexi probably have to leave the format before mechs become a menace. I definitely think they have the potential of becoming a menace though, with all these new cards and new heroes and stuff. So he could be onto something.
The door has to open for him, but unfortunately, if the door does open for mechs to really become the predominant deck in the format, Arachne will be there to act as a doorstop, because that match favors Arachne pretty heavily.
Yeah. So I think he's onto something. Like I said, like it's a great question, and it's kind of a funny way to think about it. I like how he said
mechs are actually in there.
I feel like it is going to be good for Arachne if mechs break out in the meta, but like Cliff said, he's still going to have his rough matchups, so I don't know if he's still going to be as viable. I feel like he's just run Uzuri if you're going to play an assassin.
Yep. I think if you're trying to play assassin right now, Uzuri's the choice.
No, I think Shred is going to be an MVP in that deck. For all the equipment and everything, being able to destroy things, being able to get rid of stuff, like shredding a Teklovasan, give it to me.
The one thing I will say, though, the Teklovasan deck is not playing Temper, or at least I am not playing the Temper Evos. I think the threat of just being able, your opponents being able to draw them in with T-Bones, or in this case, like a Shred or something. Like.
So you don't run any of the Evo Steel Souls?
Those all have Battle Worn, don't they?
No, Temper.
What?
Yeah. The blue Majestic ones, all Temper.
I should probably read the fucking card. Dude.
Yeah, those are all 3 Temper.
So that's what he's talking about then. Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong. This is actually a very good question. I like how he says it's almost a shadow buff to Assassin.
That's what I was saying earlier in the pod.
I think that's kind of funny.
With the new cards even, like, dude, it kind of just ruins some game plans completely. And it's going to be interesting to see how Arachne, even just Assassin, plays out after these 2 cards coming from the expansion slot.
Yeah, for sure.
But that concludes our listener questions.
I do want to say one thing, LSS.
No.
I'm looking at you, LSS. I got a bone to pick with you.
Uh-oh.
You guys ever see the like the rules questions, and they give examples of players in different interactions, and they'll say this person does this and this person does that, and then they play this card, and then they say, okay, what happens? Do you guys notice the names they use with the players always making the mistakes? It's always Tyler. Tyler plays this card and then does this, and then his opponent does this, and which
they don't like you,
dude.
They just don't like you.
What is up with Tyler always making these mistakes? Okay,
I don't know.
I'm tired of this shit.
I mean,
It's from experience, man. I don't know. I see you making mistakes quite on bench.
It always seems to be like. It's never Tyler's doing the right thing.
Tyler's always the wrong.
He's always doing the misplays and playing the cards incorrectly.
Yeah, come on, LSS. At least make it James. Come on.
No.
James is making all the... No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
I thought I would bring that up this episode.
That is funny, though. Good to point it out. Good to point it out.
Oh,
but,
shit.
All right.
Anyways.
Well, that concludes our episode 11 of Big Deck Energy. We really appreciate you guys listening. Always staying here. We've been getting more listeners and followers, so keep hitting that follow button on Spotify. We are now up on Apple Podcast as well, so you can find us on there. Just type in Big Deck Energy, BDE, a Flesh and Blood podcast, and it should pop up. But we do appreciate you guys joining in on the episodes, and next week I think we're going to be diving into our Wraith review of Arcane Rising.
Yeah. Well, actually, next week might be ProQuest talk, because it'll be we'll have the ProQuest
post
done.
ProQuest. So
it'll be post ProQuest talk. So basically, pretty much all ProQuest talk, and then I think the following week we will get into Arcane Arcane Rising review. So we'll go over everything Arcane Rising, from the heroes to the best cards in the set to the lore, the geographical locations and
Yep.
all that good stuff. So,
But thank you again for joining us on episode 11, and we will catch you guys next week. Signing out. Peace.
see ya.